Yo, it's your boy Haawws, and you're now tuning in to Do Over Dome.
You know what it is, what it ain't. Pull a couple thousand from the bank. I just took a 30 to the face. Why you niggas always gotta hate? Tell my niggas meet me at the club. Know these bitches wanna show me love.
What's good, Do Over Don't? Purple World, episode 97. Today we got somebody, I was just telling him off camera. I don't know how I was not aware of this dude prior, but just dropped an amazing album, amazing rollout. Everybody in the city has been talking about it. The work speaks for itself, so I don't even have to say too much. But I don't know how you flew under the radar for so long. But Mr. Haawws, what's good, yo?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
What's good? How's everything been? You're coming right off the project right now, the brand new year.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Shit has been good, you know. Got the album out now. Spent some time working on it. Not for sale. Kind of been, I would say, an interesting last couple of years from the last album. Not Safe for Work, and kind of just like navigating my journey as an artist and kind of going through like the everyday. And I was kind of talking with my manager earlier, like the experience is becoming a little bit mundane, but I'm like leaning into that because I understand that because it's what I'm doing like forever, it's not always going to be like the best experience. And I think that's kind of been the most interesting part about this rollout is like having everything together doesn't always mean for the best experience. And like learning from that and being able to pivot in real time has been challenging, but also exciting because I'm super big on learning, like on the go too. So for me, I feel like the biggest thing is like, okay, we have this thing and the goal is to share, but beyond that, what do we do? And like, how do we continue to be exciting and how do I challenge myself even through like past the art? And I feel like that's an art in itself. And that's one of the main reasons I like if I had a reason for why I do this, like why I'm drawn to music and drawn to create, it's because the entire thing itself is an art. And that's what I'm kind of fascinated by. And I love that feeling, that excitement, that anxiety that it gives me. Like, I'm still anxious to this point where, like, even though the album's out, I'm ready to continue to share. Because I'm not big on, to the point of flying under the radar, I'm not big on talking. I'm kind of just like, yo, I want to show up and do, and, like, just make that my thing and kind of lean more into that. Because I feel like these days a lot of people are talking, if that makes sense. But, I mean, to each his own. But, like, I'm more of a personable person. So, like, behind the scenes, like, I'm a big talker, but like, I just, like, when we get, it's showtime, like, you know, let's show up. Let's show up.
You definitely tapped in, because that's why I was saying, I don't know how I didn't hear about this dude, because, I mean, the features alone, mad people within the community, but then also all the people I was seeing, I actually found out the first person I saw that I went and checked it out was when I saw Sabo was on it. Sabo, shout out Sabo.
Twin.
Yeah, I saw Sabo was on it, though, and I'm like, yo, I've seen this, like, multiple times. I didn't even know this dude had it. I'm like, let me check it out, and I was like, yo, this shit's fire. But then I saw mad people I know, everyone I know was posting it, and I'm like, I don't know how this is the first time I was seeing your shit.
Yeah.
But, bro, I want to get more into the marketing and everything, but I always have to get this question out of the way anytime somebody comes on the platform for the first time. I just want you to give a breakdown for anybody that's watching this, what you're about, what your craft is, yourself as a person, inside, outside of music, and just a rundown on your early life. I call it the superhero origin story. It's corny me saying it that way, but I say it every pod.
Okay, word. Well, Haawws, you know, 2 A's, 2 W's, 1 S from Roxbury. I'm about, like, hip-hop, that real shit, like, you know, keeping it honest, keeping it creative, you know, being unique, being innovative with what it is you do. And I'm about art. Like, I'm big on art. Like, I really find myself looking at hip-hop in a different way than, you know, historically has been looked at. I know it's still a young genre, you know, this going into the 50th year and whatnot, but I've always seen it with prestige. So that's what I want to push. I feel like that's what my brand is about, pushing the prestige that is hip hop and not necessarily, you know, what we see on the everyday, or what we've seen in the past, and kind of like moving the needle, like every time that I do something. Cause it's not just, I feel like everything I do is hip hop. It's not just the releasing of the music. So I'm just big on that, like, you know, pushing myself every time, pushing the culture forward. How can I do that? How can I move the needle every time that I do something, every time I'm willing to share as an artist? That's big for me.
And it's fire because you're saying that, like, just looking at your album rollout alone, you could just tell. That's what caught my attention is I'm like, this dude's not just a rapper. This dude is like a full-on artist. because everything from
Word, I
bro,
appreciate that.
when I tell you I went around the studio before this one, because everybody's like, oh, who do you have a podcast with today? And I'm like, yo, this dude, blah, blah, blah. I pull up your Instagram, show him. I was just on a call with a director shooting a video for my artist next week, and I'm like, yo, you got to see this dude's Instagram. Bro, the way that you got that aesthetic down and the cohesiveness of everything, that alone was such an artistic touch. But then once you got to like the actual stuff besides just the pictures with the fisheye lens and stuff, and it was the actual meat of everything, like the way you announced the track list, bro, that shit was fire.
Thank you.
That shit was fire. The dude I was on the phone with that showed it, he said it reminded him of some Sopranos shit. And that shit was, but you killed.
Yo, shout out to him for that.
Bro,
that was hard.
You killed everything with the rollout so far. And I just want to ask you right off rip, because that's what got my attention really.
Yeah.
And I just... Rollouts are a forgotten, essential part of making music. I feel like there's a good amount of people here that do good jobs of doing them, but there's also a ton of people around here that are amazingly talented that don't put any effort into that section.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to just pick your brain, the whole thought process behind coming up with the whole entire rollout, actually getting shit done, and then watching it come to life before your eyes. Just that whole process.
To your point, and to your like the first thing you said is like it's a lost start, and like I do want to acknowledge that. And so hopefully acknowledging that people can see this or hear this and get back to where they want to get more creative and they want to get more hands-on. I feel like a lot of artists these days are leaning into just focusing on the music and allowing the team or the people around them or just ideas to come fluidly and not really planning. But for me, because everything is one thing, that's a part of the album. So like I wouldn't be able to create the music and then these ideas of how I want it to be presented not come to my head. These are simultaneous thoughts. So that's kind of just how my brain works. So like I know where I'm going and how I want this to be presented and how we want to curate and roll everything out in the process of making the music. It's more so when it gets down to execution, it's like looking what's in the backyard and like what can we do and how can we be creative with the resources that we do have and be different each time. And I think it is a real methodical thing. It's very thought out, but also to my original point of having room to pivot. It's not something that I get gung-ho on one thing. It's like, nah, there's a lot of gray area when it comes to rollouts, but however, to keep the cohesion, there is like a signal thought. So like, I see it as fog with my ideas, and then there's like, what I'm trying to land on is kind of blinking in the fog, and I kind of just got to move towards that, and I kind of take opportunities and make them my own. And I think that plays into having the perfect storm. They say that a great rollout is kind of like a perfect storm, and I kind of see that blinking light as the perfect storm. And once I get to that, we kind of have the things. Everything else is like kind of rolls itself out. I feel like I love when people say that it's cohesive and like they see the concept that I'm going for, and they're excited as you are, or because I have people tell me that like they love how well I'm able to curate things and like put things into perspective. And for me, I really appreciate that because there is a lot of thought that goes into it, but at the same time, it's not that much thought. It's like
it's fun for you.
Yeah, it's naturally like a part of my process. Like when I'm like, I don't know, it's like I feel like all great. Like I think of art in the traditional form of like a painter, right? There's very few painters that just paint in silence. Like most of them paint with music. So I think of like the idea of how, because I'm a musician, I think of the illustration as the marketing, the advertisement, the artwork, and what I want to share. And the music is kind of like the background story to that. And so because there are two things happening simultaneously, as I'm creating, as I'm writing this music, as we're in the studio, I already know the direction that I want the rollout to go. And that's kind of like, also my manager, she's big on this, is like, your life is a rollout. Like, so it kind of like, this is where we're at right now. So I'm glad people are fucking with this phase, but like we're continuously like moving. So what people have seen thus far is like just a glimpse of what we have planned. Inshallah, just, as we continue to roll out Not For Sale and the whole album and everything else, like we haven't even got to no visuals yet. So I'm glad that people are fucking what we released so far.
It's literally just micro content galore. That's the fire part about it, and that's why I'm like, yo, I can't wait to see what else it is. Because it's like literally just this fisheye lens shit for like 2 months since December. And like I said, I didn't even know about you at that period. So I'm seeing it all afterwards. But I'm like, okay, you could literally see like this dude did the archiving shit off of his Instagram. You got like this whole aesthetic that's literally just perfect for everything. Perfect track announcement, like I
Yeah.
said. You got the visualizers on deck with everything, or the Spotify canvases and shit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did the project go up late on Apple, or am I tripping?
No. And, this is where, I urge people to stay in touch with your distributors. Like, if you got someone you're working with, be in touch. But be timely on your shit as well, because I feel like I have to take some accountability for that as well in this album. And I got to just, in general, I got to do better on that. I be on my artist shit like, the day before type. And it's like, like you're working with people, they got to do their job. So like make it easier for them to do their job so that you don't run into hiccups, because we did run into some issues where it wasn't up on Apple for some time. But the album is now on all streaming platforms. So you can go stream Not For Sale on Apple Music and everything. But yeah, I feel like, to your original point, because I do want to speak on the fisheye lens thing, I think that is just a lane that like I really, shout out to homie Sean Wire. We've been cooking up a lot lately, and I feel like that's kind of this. We was describing like what the city, like what's New England sound like? What is really what's the aesthetic? What's the feel? And there is kind of like, I felt like the fisheye lens to an extent of how I was kind of, my portrayal of how I would use it and what I was kind of capturing and what I do capture, and kind of this archival kind of state. And then like from which I capture things I feel like it's very symbolic of what you feel in Boston, what I'm experiencing to my experience. And I feel like because I'm that kind of under the radar guy, I'm not, super out there. I felt like for a large period of time, and my managers told me, and various people have told me this too, like, I want to know more about like what's going on like behind the scenes outside of what you present. And so I felt like for those couple of months, that was a great way to do so. Because I feel like naturally on the day-to-day, I live a really fun life, dope life. I'm grateful for being able to do this and like having the freedom to create. But I feel like sometimes people do want to see the behind the scenes and kind of the like what's going on. So I wanted to capture kind of a balance of both, like some of the work, some of the behind the scenes, some just random moments, just candid stuff, and just more so leaning into the fisheye, because it's like this optical specific type of view on what it is that I have. And I feel like the whole fisheye closing off, the way it looks is kind of just like where I was at musically. I don't know how, like I'm trying to draw the comparison between the two, but if those who get me, they get me. Like the fisheye is just the era right now. That's the era we in. Like fisheye Haawws, like that's where I'm at. So like I keep that with me to capture just like certain moments. But then we have there's the official photo shoots and all that other stuff that, you kind of got to do. You make sure that's there as part of the content. But even that's curated in a way that, like, for this album, people will understand. Like, once this is fully fleshed out, like, people will understand exactly what I was getting off with the whole era of which is Not Safe for Work. I know you say you tapped in very recently, but, like, this album was a prequel to Not Safe for Work, was an album that I had previously released. So this kind of ends an era, like, as we transition out and, we start doing different shit.
Damn. So I caught you at the end of this era. Damn. Yeah. Damn, bro. It's crazy. So how long, well, before I get into that, because I was going to say, how long has this era been a thing? In general, I didn't even ask you this yet. Yeah. How did you get into music?
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, not really that interesting. I feel like I came up on music in various forms. You know how, like, maybe your parents have, like, introduced you to it early on, like, playing instruments and whatnot, or taking you different classes, lessons. So I started there, but didn't really have, like, an affinity for hip-hop and rap until, like, maybe 7th, 8th grade, transitioning into high school. And that's when I was like, around that, I feel like 9th, 10th grade, I'm like, this is some shit I could see myself doing, like, for a long period of time. But where I was at that point in time, like, just myself, I would say individually as a young person in the world, and then, like, kind of the homies I was running with, that wasn't necessarily, like, a thought. Like, it was like, here, like, that's in this realm of what we could do.
It was like a dream, but you didn't think it was
real. Like, it's in the sphere, but, like, we not really on that. Like, we on other stuff, like, nothing too crazy, but, like, we just not, like, we don't know no studios at the time. Like, I'm aware, I know what's going on. I'm seeing people pop off here and there. I'm hearing about stuff. And then it gets to the point to where I'm getting more curious, and I'm inquiring more, and I'm finding myself in sessions, and I'm finding myself getting my own studio sessions. And then it gets to a point where, like, ultimately, fast forward, it gets to a point where I'm like, my journey is going to start with me having a lot of my own shit and, like, bootstrapping it. So, I get my own equipment. I start with that recording process. And then that's probably around 2018. And then you fast forward to 2020 to where I get more confident in the stuff that I'm creating because I'm like working tirelessly, like nonstop. Like, so that 10,000 hour concept of like, it's not literally the 10 years, but like the time that I spent from when a person, you know, because sometimes you can get shit and it'll sit there and you don't actually get to it. Like I was someone, as soon as I got my hands on the equipment, like I literally went to town and kind of was like, I want to get better at this. And I feel like that's just been my mindset as an artist in general. I want to get better. So that's why the progress can be in so short of a time for some things, because it was like 2020 to where I got confident enough to I was like, I'm gonna put something out. And people kind of received it well. I was only on Twitter at the time, no Instagram.
Damn.
I'm only one platform. I released directly to a website that I had created, and you had to stream the album in full. And I only released it after that to SoundCloud. I didn't release on full streaming sites. And then it wasn't until a year after that I released 2 songs on just Spotify and Apple to kind of test the waters. And those songs did kind of fairly well locally. Like I was still like very much not having an Instagram, posting when I would on Twitter, and kind of just galvanizing my community there. And then, you know, fast forward, we get to several other releases, music videos that do well, and people are fucking with them and kind of like, you know, telling me they love my direction visually. And then I get into where I start crafting a body of work that will become Not Safe for Work in 2022. Damn. And, you know, we got a few nods, like, you know, the NOM, the Boston Music Award NOM. And I feel like 2022 stuff started to pick up. And, like, I was not only more confident in what I was creating, but, like, I was kind of understanding myself more as an artist and what I would, how I would be presenting myself and what I would be doing when presenting myself. And maybe that is kind of a testament to the under the radar, because we're very like methodical in how we do everything with the entire approach, because I see this as something that I'm doing for the rest of my life. So like, you know, how you start is how you finish type shit.
You seem like the dude that you just like disappear for a while, you pop up, you just go crazy, and then you disappear again and do the same shit, rinse and repeat. Is that the formula? Is that kind of how it's been?
I would say that's how it's been, but I do want to necessarily stray away from that, because I see us a lot in just like in our space, in the entertainment space, they're saying that the whole, I hate the people, hate's a strong word, but I don't know if I'm really a fan of the or you can't be mysterious or you can't have mystique as an artist anymore. I think it's more so like, how real is that to you? Is it just something you're trying to sell, or is that really you? And I feel like from a stand of being like always in front all the time, I feel like that's a time and a space thing for me. I can definitely move around the room, but I'm more of a personable type of like, not super like closed off or recluse, but like I can have my reclusive moments, but I'm definitely like, you know, deal with social anxiety sometimes, but I'm definitely like a kind of chill, laid back type of person. I'm not like all super out there all the time. So I feel like hopefully people get that from when I present my art. I'm hoping that translates, but if not, then that's okay too.
I like that conversation you just opened with that, of your opinion on the mysteriousness, because I've always been against it for the most part with artists that they do it in a way where it's like a trendy way. But the way that you just said that about people that's actually them, it's true. Because, bro, I say this all the time. You got mad artists that are introverted as fuck. And I could get from this, you seem to be more of an introverted person. Yeah. So it's like to force yourself in that limelight, even if you don't got like 1 million followers and shit, just having to do anything publicly if you're an introvert is like, yo, fuck this shit. But at the same time, you love it. So like you're saying that. But overall, because I love talking to people about this, being an introvert, you're in a terrible industry to be an introvert. Yeah. So for anybody that's watching this, if you got people that are shy or just introverted in general, not even necessarily shy, they just like keeping to themselves, keeping the close people, how do you recommend that they sort of get out of that shell when it's appropriate and needed?
Okay, I want to be transparent though, to say like I'm very extroverted, introverted, like type, you know? Like
it's like an on-off switch.
Yeah, like I know how, you know, to get the people going. And then I also like, I like time and a place for everything, but I feel like I do have my moments as well, but I'm transparent in that. Like I'm introverted. I'm the introverted extrovert that will let people know that I'm not feeling the whole group thing right now. I'll be verbal and say that, like vocalize that. Where most introverts, they'll kind of duck off. Yeah. So I say for those who are dealing, like figure out ways to articulate. I feel like that's what, I have colleagues that tell me one of my biggest strengths is being able to articulate in ways that most artists can't, like outside the sphere. But I feel like what I was telling one of my colleagues recently was like, this album is helping me articulate my feelings in a way that I haven't been able to before, being able to get this off my chest and share. And I think that's what's most important to me because it's helping my character development. And so I would say, like, if you do suffer from those moments where you're shy or the stage fright, whatever, just figure out different mechanisms that helps you articulate so that you can just, and make it brief. I make those, because that shit could get weird. Like, I make the shit really brief, like, yo, my fault, I'm not really feeling it right now. Boom, kind of, and keep it there. And people understand. When you're genuine, I feel like people understand and they leave room and space for you for those moments. I feel like that's my personal experience, and that's what I would offer to anybody who would need any advice. But everybody's journey is going to be different. Like, my heart goes to those who have those awkward moments and they kind of don't land on a good foot. But it is what it is.
It's part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's the industry we're in too. Like, especially if you're in music, I wouldn't tell anybody. I definitely wouldn't advise anybody who's super introverted to get into this industry and thinking that they're just going to be able to move through it that entire time and not become a social butterfly at some point or just turn it on. I would say definitely. I wouldn't tell anybody to do something else, but like, it's going to be hard. It's definitely going to be hard. But if if you're built for it, then let's pull up.
You see the Cardi Aiden Ross shit?
Which clip are we talking?
One that just happened where he pulled up and then just said like nothing for like 5 minutes and he was supposed to be there for 2 hours.
Oh yeah. I seen the clip of that. I'm like, that's kind of crazy, but that's like the bag Cardi's in right now. Like, he's been transforming. He's another artist that, like, if you pay attention how they came in, it was real. Like, it might have felt like very in your face, but it was methodical. Like, the transition was always there. You could see it from. I honestly saw it for the first time. He separated himself and distanced himself and not really wanted to be hanging and create his own shit. I'm like, okay, this is someone who sees an era for themselves, because eras in music happen, and like the greatest artists have them to where they kind of change the music. At the top of the year, people were saying he's going to change the industry, and he might just like. And then we talk about Mystique and it not being popular, right? This is one of the biggest artists right now. His whole thing is Mystique. So is it not as popular? He says he's in his emo thug shit. I feel like feelings are becoming popular now. Being in tune with your emotions are becoming popular now. And if you're really that person who's introverted, if you're transparently giving that to people, it's becoming popular. Like, especially because we're all connected over the internet type shit. Like, you can be a person could be introverted, you can still connect with them over FaceTime and shit like that. So. It's an interesting place music's in right now, but yeah.
How many podcasts have you done before? Interviews in general.
Interviews, I mean, I feel like interviews is everyday conversation type shit.
It is.
Like, yeah.
No, but like, because I'm just saying, bro, normally people got like fillers and shit, but you're just nonstop. Like, you no fillers, no nothing. I hate to like microanalyze, but I'm like, damn, this motherfucker can talk.
word. Nah, the mic's live. The mic's live.
Good shit, though. Railing back a little bit, though, with like the introverted thing. I know you touched on it a little bit, but different approach. You started out on Twitter, didn't have Instagram like most people do, and on top of that, you didn't even drop on DSPs. You did a website, and you did SoundCloud. But overall, early on in your career, in general, how would you advise people starting out to go about networking? But also, what was your personal journey like? Because it sounds like your journey was different than most people's.
Okay, if I'm being honest right now, it depends on what you want. If you want to make money, and don't think of this like as like one's like worse than the other. It's just two different ways, and there's going to be different journeys for everybody. Clark's big on that. The homie Clark. I'm pretty sure you've heard of.
Clark's been on here.
Yeah,
Clark's like one of my favorite episodes, bro. Every time Clark's name comes up, I gotta give Clark his fucking props.
And he acknowledges that there will be different journeys in this shit. But for the two examples you gave, I feel like for the first one, Tromani is someone you've had up here. That's a great example. If you want to get to this shit, you want to get it now, you feel like you have a sound that can penetrate now, and you feel like you're good with putting yourself out there, that is someone that I would say that's in space, who's younger, who's putting themselves out there and doing a great job at doing it and releasing good music. That is a great model to follow if you are trying to get to it right now. If you're someone who it takes a little bit longer for you, you you may be more on the, let's say, introverted side, or it may just take you a little bit longer to galvanize your thoughts and put together projects or even put together songs. I would say figure out what makes you unique, lean into that. And when I mean lean into that, it should be every part of what you do, and not in the most like cliche way, but like literally like make it a part of what you do. So whether that be, I know imagery is everything. So like, and that goes from your visuals to your wardrobe to how you present yourself on social media as an artist. If there's ways that your uniqueness can be embedded into your imagery, then do so. If there's ways that it can be embedded in, like outside of the music, I don't want to give music as an example because I feel like you're going to do that naturally, but you have to find the other touch points about you as an artist where you can add that uniqueness as like a beauty mark. I think of it like a beauty mark. And, you stick with that, and every time you release, make sure that that's present, and it'll be a slower burn, but you will pick up like really, really diehard fans, and before you know it, you'll have built a community that sometimes you're unaware of type shit. It isn't until you come outside from being an introvert, and then people fuck with your shit. Like, yo, come outside. Yeah.
How would you say overall, besides just like getting your music out there, just the overall package, would you say that that's something that came natural to you, like the way that you did the rollouts and shit? I know that you said that was natural, but just overall getting the aesthetic down, was it any micro analyzing, like, okay, I need to do this, blah, 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 or was it just you right off rip? That was just the brand. Like, obviously the brand is you, but I think you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah. I would say my creative direction was always in the right place. And I have to give kudos to my manager, Maya Rose Projects, who has that microanalyzation, is like, yo, okay. And it's helped me now take my shit to another level. And I feel like that is, you need that. So I feel like it was just a realm that I was already in as an artist. And this was someone who wasn't necessarily on the inside, but had saw that potential and was like, yo, I feel like if you do this, do this. It's like kind of having that person like before you take a photo, kind of get you right type shit. It's like, yeah. And so I think that's what it is. To be honest, I have that second opinion, but also the second opinion, not to just critique, but to challenge. Like, yo, I've seen you be able to do this. What about like doing this? And then it's like, okay, we're thinking together about like how we can do this and take things up a step each time. But it really came into like what I wanted to communicate just from jump. Like I always wanted to be able to stand out and be different, but in my way of being different. Because, like, that's very cliche, like the, I'm different type shit. Like, I don't want to just be different. Like, I want to be different how Haawws is different. But still be myself, like, not really going outside of myself. So, but it was always there, yeah. The creative mind was always there, especially for presentation. My mom was big on that, like, just from, like, simple shit of going to school. Like, you can't just go to school looking any type of way. Like, I definitely may not have always had the flyest shit, but like my clothes is clean, my collar is straight, you feel me? My shoes is clean, my nails is clean. Like making sure that I'm presentable type shit is kind of always been a thing. So it's like whenever I present art, it's more than likely going to be in that way as well, unless the intention is to be on some real rugged, ragged shit, like type shit, which is there too. Like sometimes I want people to know exactly what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. It's not everything is glitz and glamour and this shit. Like it's not real.
You spoke a little bit about your relationship with your manager throughout that, but it brought a deeper question to my mind. What are your thoughts on just artists taking criticism overall? Because the way that you're talking about being able to have those conversations, like her be like, okay, this could work better, whatever. You have a lot of artists that will just be like, nah, fuck you. It's the way I want it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But being able to be open to criticism, does that say something that you were open to early on? Or is that something that you had to learn over time? And why do you think so many artists have a hard time with that?
When it depends. I feel like I was someone who came in and people were honest, like, yo, you gotta get better. And I developed, and being around people who are actually dope is what let me know. Like, I didn't just step in and was like, oh, my shit's fire. Like, nah, I was coming up around people who's actually nice. Like that, a lot of people, which you probably know, a lot of people that are still here in the community doing their thing, they're actually nice. So like being able to be around, like, guys that are like, and girls that are nice coming up. So it's like iron sharpens iron to that point. And then you're being around the critique that is being shared collectively. So it's like not just one person being targeted, but people are like, everyone's letting each other know that they can be better on this or do stuff, or they can improve in this area. And then, you know, I was recently talking to, this was when working on an album, but I had a few sessions with Body Rock, and a big thing he speaks on is that ego death. It's like, something I learned on my last album, but like even before dealing with anybody else in this, I realized like how much of that you would have to get when you really are in the thick of this, you know, the entertainment, the music industry. Like, you can't be beyond critique as an artist. The best artists got critiqued. And that's where I'm coming from a lens that's not traditionally music, because most of the time music artists, they don't like to hear shit about their shit. It's like, my shit is the best shit in the world. But I remove myself as a music artist, and I just think in art in general. Am I beyond critique? No, I'm not, because there may be somebody in a different medium that doesn't even know nothing about hip-hop, but likes my shit, and then they cannot like the next shit. It's just, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't change how I feel. So I feel like the ego death is big. You got to get rid of that as an artist, get rid of your ego, and understand that your shit's not going to be for everybody. Like, let's be real. Like, that's not, there's almost how much, 8 billion people on the planet. Like, find your audience. If someone says they don't like your shit, just be glad that they listen. Some people's music doesn't get listened to. So I feel like, but it's hard to understand that when you come in, especially if it's the other route, you come in and everybody fucks with your shit, which I think a lot of times, especially in this day and age, you know, everybody is just like, yeah, that shit's hard. That shit's hard. Like, I'm not going to act like I'm one super to tell someone like, oh, that shit's not it. I feel like there's better ways to do that, but depending on if we have that relationship or not, obviously. But I'm also a big critique of myself. So before anybody else, like, I'm looking at it like, I got songs that people look at me like, what? You're not gonna do what with? And I'm like, this is just how I feel. So I struggle with that too on that end, but that's a whole nother story. But I think the biggest thing is ego death, to be honest. Like, you gotta get rid of your ego in this shit. When you're sharing publicly, you shouldn't care what nobody has to say. Just share. Just share. Yeah, just share.
I want to talk to you. You're talking about sharing and just staying true and all of this. You stayed true to the hip-hop roots throughout your music, and it's almost like you retrofitted the core roots of everything, and then you put it in the modern packaging, obviously from the visuals, everything. Yeah. Like, if you look at your visuals and stuff, you would sense that there's like that core hip hop, but at the same time, you would expect some like new age, like underground type shit. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because when I was listening through, it's almost like you got some beats on there that it's like that new age underground stuff, but then you got core hip hop on it. And I'm like, yo, this shit is different as fuck. Yeah. So I want to just talk about that whole element of really staying true to yourself. Did you go through any phases where you were making some shit that you're like, yo, this is not Haawws, this isn't the music that Haawws wants to make? I know. I want you to just talk about the whole roller coaster and figuring that out, where it's like, no, fuck this, I'm gonna make this shit that is what I want.
Okay, I feel like when I first started making music, this is after like getting my equipment, 2018, struggling, losing equipment, getting new equipment, going through that process. So I finally get a setup that I'm comfortable with. I'm starting more so writing songs, so I wasn't really even even though I have recording equipment, using anything to record, just really writing, trying to find different collaborators. I didn't know how to mix at the time, so I was trying to work with different people that I would find through various forms, sometimes the craziest forms. And it's like, yo, I got to be careful. But, anything to get the music done. That's how it shows you how much I I want this shit more than anything else. But, like, I got to a point where I was kind of just really not liking the shit that I was coming up with, and just being honest with myself, again, to the critique, like, I don't even feel comfortable sharing this with someone else because I know I can do better. Like, I know that I could do better than this. So it's like spending my time with that, and still, overall, as I said earlier, it took 2 years before getting comfortable with sharing anything. But like, I went through a phase where I'm only wanting to songwrite, and I'm making like these alternative hip hop records that have this like taste of R&B but jazz influence. And then I get to a point where like I'm heavy in a Kendrick bag and I'm doing voice rap, and then I'm like, I'm not a voice rapper. I don't fuck with that. I felt like I got to a point where everybody gets, where they're like trying to make anthems. You're just like, oh, I want to make a hit record. It wasn't really, hit record wasn't in my mind. It was more so anthems, because that was the time of anthems, DJ Khaled and shit like that. So I'm like thinking anthem, but then I'm thinking anthem in a way to like, how could I make, a good example would be what's that record that, Successful? With Trey Songz, Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, yeah. Like, some
Khaled has so many, bro.
Exactly, right? So many, and I'm like, and think about how the different that is from Not For Sale. Exactly. So it's like, I'm not feeling any of this. Then it was like I continued with the songwriting, found a few collaborators. Those relationships kind of fizzled out. And it got to a point where it was just like, okay, instead of trying to just do the songwriting thing, let me find other creative spaces where people are cooking up and kind of get back into the roots of that, because before I started working on my own shit or getting my own studio and stuff, that's what I was doing. I was floating around. So I just got back into the bag of floating around, hearing what people are working on, and then understanding where the sound was going then to what I needed to be kind of hopping on, and not necessarily conforming to what's going on, but like I know where we're at and I know how to find what makes sense for me in the time that we're at. And I feel like that's one of my superpowers in this shit, is like knowing the music that I'm supposed to be over and knowing what I sound good over, and then knowing how to put all of it together in a way that it makes sense. But the most mind-boggling thing about that shit is, bro, a lot of times how I come across music is by like nature. Like, it's very organic. Like, the intro for this album was made, I started on this album 2 years ago. The intro was made in the September of last year.
Damn.
As soon as I got the beat, like the beat got airdropped to my laptop. It was produced by Tomo. Tomo went upstairs to his studio, came back down, and I was done with the intro. Like, so I can't, like, I don't have I know some artists will get on here and be like, yeah, my process is this, it's 2 years, I spent all this time. Like, nah, I could spend 2 years and get that album in the last 4 months of the 2 years, because that's just like sometimes how shit happens. But yeah, I forgot your question, but sometimes
I honestly forget too.
I
think I was just talking about finding the sound and going through the phases where you like finally got true to yourself with everything.
Yeah, I feel like early on I was just super experimental, and then I got to a point where it was like, nah, I found my voice. I found my voice in the shit, and then my voice helped me find the sounds that I preferred most, and then I just was able to curate the producers that I would frequent, and from there it kind of grew. And then there was a point in time where I kind of like, because I do have one of the earlier projects with the homie Kai, which he's fully produced, executive produced, mixed, and mastered, was This Is My Story. That was an EP that we put out where I wanted to do something I felt homegrown, like an OD to my natural roots of being like that hip hop MC on the corner, like type of rap, like real backpack hip hop. I wanted to do that and like really show where I come from, but like also understand that there's this broad spectrum that's Haawws, that's not just like this one box. But I still give you those raps, because you said it's the hardcore rap shit, but then you have this new like underground, new age, modern. So I feel like that's where we're at with music. Like, people want to be excited. Like, I wouldn't want to hear, not that I wouldn't, but not for myself, because that's just not where I'm at. Like, I wouldn't want to hear a full, but maybe, who knows? I may make a quintessential rap album that's just over Andre 3000 Fruits.
Yeah.
Right? Did you check that album?
Nah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard it either, but
he just dropped one new one.
Andre 3000?
Yeah.
The Flute album?
He just dropped a new album?
No. You didn't hear about the last Flute album?
No.
Oh, no, that was a thing. Yeah, I haven't heard it, but everybody says it's pretty good. It's like something to sleep to, like one of those like YouTube channels that you can just throw on and kind of go to sleep to.
All the random ass sounds, bro.
3K.
Yo. I didn't even know he dropped that shit.
Yeah.
I know something I wanted to ask you though. Talking about figuring out your sound and getting that down packed. I feel like there's a sound, there's like steps. It's like dominoes, but I feel like sound is one of them, and then the business side of shit. Yeah. And I feel like obviously you didn't just jump in this and just know the business side of everything. So I kind of want to just journey through that roller coaster. Your fuck ups in the music business, things you learned, and what was your real like wake up call where it was like, okay, I got to figure this shit out.
Okay, I like I'll go backwards in reverse. This is a little bit easier for me. The wake up call was like having more than I could like manage just administratively, like just remembering to keep up with. Like, and I urge that to anybody else coming up, because I know this big on your platform. Like, what will you tell people coming up? If you don't got shit going on, I hear people that's way further than me saying this, but I could be honest with myself to say that now as someone who has some shit going on. Like, don't push shit on anybody else or be seeking out someone. Just really get to a point where it's like, damn, you don't have enough tentacles like an octopus to manage everything that you have going on yourself to get someone else. So I say I was at that point to where it was like, okay, bring somebody else on. And we kind of ran into each other very organically. It wasn't of like force. That's how I also felt like, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the time. Thank you, God. for coming to my life right now, sending me this side, because this is what to go forward with. And then what was the in between step? The fuck up was like I would say a story. So there was a time where one of the homies, and this is how I knew I didn't have my shit all the way together. Like I thought I had my shit all the way together. So we're supposed to be planning for like some social media party or some shit like that a homie got invited to. So he invites me to another homie spot. We pull up on them. The homie's got the whole like pool house and everything. His manager's there. It's a rap homie of music. You probably know him. I tell you about it offline, but like he, you know, has the whole shit together. And this is someone who is kind of like mid-tier at where they're starting out and, you know, has motion going on, has a record that's doing pretty well locally and is doing shows and shit. And they got management. And we're just talking about basic shit. And it's like, I'm someone who had felt like I had studied a lot before getting into this. Like I wasn't just making the music, I was doing the research, because a lot of this shit is research. You know, if you didn't know, now you know. A lot of this shit is research. So but research doesn't just mean online or reading books, like actually having conversation with people. So being able to be in a situation where I have someone who is kind of got their foot in the door in the industry, got a manager, I'm just soaking up game in this conversation and asking many questions I can. And there was a point in time where it was like, I was soliciting like deal offers without having proper representation or like, you know, like, going into certain situations without like really having a team and doing it all by myself, because I just came from a space professionally that I like, you know, I know how to carry myself in. But this world, in this business, the music business is, while at the end of the day it's kind of the same, it is vastly different from how people operate business on a day-to-day basis. So understanding that and understanding it was a little bit more nuanced than what I had thought, like I really started to think a little bit more about situations that I would not only put myself in, but even shit to engage, because you then build a reputation on that. Like what you answer, even if you don't say yes, lets people know what you're open to type shit. So I felt like that was big for me too, because I said, again, like how you start is how you finish. So like that's always been a big thing for me, like being mindful of what I'm, you know, engaging and making sure that we dotting the I's and crossing the T's correctly type shit. But I'd say the first part of the question was just research. From the beginning, I knew that I couldn't get into this shit and not pay my dues in every form. I think people think paying their dues is just like paying for studio time, thugging it out, doing shows for free. Like, nah, doing your research on the business is also paying your dues, or you will get in this shit and get, you know, mistreated. Well, I'm not about to say the F word, but you'll get mistreated, just to say that. Yeah.
Through everything, what kept you going? Because I feel like anybody that's a creative, you have so many chances to give up, and you have so many thoughts about giving up, because it's literally chasing something that is not there that you have to turn into reality.
Yes.
So all those moments where you were about to hang up the superhero cape, what made you go back out there, keep fighting?
Type shit. I want to be transparent to say I had one of those moments the other day. Like,
damn.
Like, and that's what I'm being transparent to say. Like, people like, yo, the album's out. How is this? Like, yo, it's great that I'm able to get this off my chest, but like, it really was like a mechanism to help me get better as a person, because I got shit that I got to work on, and that's on the album too. Like, I speak about that on the album, but I feel like in those moments, how I get through them is like, sometimes it can be different. Sometimes I'll see value in my purpose and feel purposeful. What I can feel, I feel like that is what's driven me. Like, gives me, you know, as artists, they say you gotta have this delusion or whatever the case may be. It's that's what, it's not delusion for me, because I really feel like I've seen things naturally that lets me know, like, okay, you're supposed to be doing this. And so it's a combination of those things. Having those moments, that's physical signals from God, thank you, God, and the like belief, like, that I'm supposed to be doing this, because my calling to it was very early on, in a way that the only reason I probably didn't start earlier, which I talk about this with my manager all the time, is because I was discouraged from the people that, you know, like, I didn't necessarily look up to because we're peers, but like a lot of my thoughts, it were like, or my respect was invested into how they felt, so like their perception of me. And so it's like, once you grow out of that and we get older, you realize like, okay, we're not in high school anymore. You're gonna have to do what exactly is you want to do. And I'm like, okay, this is what I've always wanted to do. And maybe it was the right time, that distance and that time in between, to like actually figure it out and make sure that it was right for me was needed to be at this point now. So, you know, grateful for all of those moments, like, because they keep me humble too. I don't I don't wish for those things not to happen. I obviously wish for an illustrious career, but like even when those things come and the accolades are raining, I want to still be able to feel those moments because that's what lets me know that I'm human. Because you can get very, you know, people in the shit, they start to lose their shit. Yeah. I don't ever want to be one of those people.
Bro, I don't even like understand how people be losing their human side with shit because just it don't make sense to me. Like, the way you see motherfuckers switch up in this shit is crazy. Like, if you stay solid, you just deal with so much bullshit. I feel like, I'm saying I don't understand, but I also feel like it's so easy to fall into all of the bullshit. It's so easy to, but I myself, I could not see, like, falling into that shit.
It is. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot when you get fame thrown at you. The shit that we do brings a lot of attention. You know, we're in an age, in an era where attention is valued more than money. Attention is like a lot of, you know, Gillian Wallace said that a lot. The number one currency is attention right now. It's like people do stuff for attention. So I feel like, you know, while that's a thing, you know, get the right attention. That's what I'm big on. Like, to your point of like going away and then come back when you have something to say, it's like, yeah, because just to be talking and just having the eyes on you. To be honest, how I grew up, that's not how we move. Like, just being loud and everybody knowing your moves and what you got going on. That's not what especially where I grew up. That's not something we do. Type shit.
That's the thing that I don't get is people want all the attention and don't think about the negative side of it.
Yeah, man.
Because the way you're talking about that, I grew up the same way. It's like, keep as low of a profile, don't let anybody know your business, anything, and then
get your money and get out the way.
Bro, I always say, like, it sucks because when you're doing the music, the way we were talking about earlier about being introverted people, I wouldn't want to be famous. I would want to get rich off this shit, but I wouldn't want to be famous personally because just all of that extra shit you got to worry about, like going out, mad people knowing you, mad unwanted energy. You got mad people in the music industry that be getting killed now in all types of situations because people know their business so publicly. Like, the digital era we live in is fucked.
It's helpful, but it can be hurtful. It's helpful,
but it's hurtful.
Yeah, so, and I want to say, like, I'm definitely like a man of the people. So like, I'm never one just like I super want to be closed off. Like, I understand what I signed up for. Like, me and the homie was talking about this the other day. Like, you know what you kind of signed up for doing this. So like, I never lose sight of that. And I think what helps with that is not just the ego death, but like understanding like people. I was talking to the homie Tomo about this. Like, people really sometimes, or a few homies about this actually, sometimes they're just fascinated the idea that you get behind this, you put words together, and you make them sound good over a beat, and then you create a video to it, you have a rollout, you have all of these things, and then you also do this, but you're also still a normal person. Sometimes, like, they're dismissive of the normal person because they may not be doing that creative thing that you're doing. And that could be anything you're doing creatively as an artist. Yeah. Like, it's the same reason why, you know, obviously, like, we don't know. We weren't alive when Picasso was alive. We don't know if they were chasing him down the street. If the baddies was chasing Picasso, that'd be funny, right? But, like, we got to assume, like, yo, he had some level of fame or some level of respect and idolization. So, like, it's what comes with it. I feel like just don't let it get to your head. Like, none of this shit should get to anybody's head. Like, we're still human at the end of the day, me and you. Like, if this shit was to all go away, like, we're people at the end of the day type shit.
I know. And I feel like a lot of times the way that you're saying it, people literally look at artists and shit like they're not human. Yeah. Like, you don't look at Drake and you're like, damn, this dude got a son. He got like a whole family.
You just hear God's plan.
Yeah, like, and you see a picture of him with his fucking Enzo and you're like, yeah, like, this is Drake. Yeah. And not thinking about any of that shit. But that's something, anybody that's like watching this in general and just people in general, because I feel like the fucked up part is when artists do it to artists. Yeah. That's when it's a problem. Like, from an outside point of view, if you're not involved in music whatsoever, it's still a little weird for you to look at people like that. But I get it because the way that you're talking about, they're not used to it whatsoever. But if you're in the music industry and you be on some shit where you expect people to just be all music and not expect any of the life shit, I don't know what the fuck your problem is. Like, you got to think. Yeah. Because people sometimes literally just get the lines blurred so much that it's like they think that everybody has to be on straight just music timing. Yeah. Like,
I think sometimes, you know, artists can be in their own world too. Like, I don't know if you've heard that, like, rumor about Wayne to where, like, he can be in his own world and kind of be just, like, locked in the studio. You have artists who get like that. I even have times where I get like that. I'm becoming more of a studio rat now. Like, I started off like that, like someone who was always in the studio. Then there was a period of time where it's like, yo, we're going where? Yeah. We're going where? Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not trying to go to the studio, but it's like, But like I'm back in there, and it's never like even the odds kind of just like I feel like I was still experiencing shit, and I didn't have really anything to work on or say. So, but I'm kind of getting outside of that mode. But back to the point of like, you do have artists that can be in their own zone, and sometimes they can forget what we're doing is so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. And I like to say that to my peers a lot. Like, I'm grateful to do this. I'm grateful to be able to share in this way, and this is how I express as a human being. But I cannot be dismissive of the things that are happening outside of myself and what I'm putting out into the world. And I think that's just, again, to my original point of keeping it real. I feel like that's what's gonna help me translate. I keep it real. I keep it real with how I feel, where I'm at, and what I'm going through. And like my perspective on shit. But not a lot of people, sometimes a lot of people not being real with themselves in this. So that's why it's hard to, to like, just to turn off the music mode and go into like, it's 8 p.m. in the studio, the game is on, like we could just have some like regular conversation, or we're out somewhere and we can just like, everything don't gotta be super musicy, like, because people forget sometimes because they're like in a character. Like I never felt like I was being a character. I didn't create a character for this. It's just like, I wanted to make music then. The homies was like, that shit's not cool. So I waited until I grew up and I started making music type shit.
What's your thoughts on that whole character building shit? I was talking about, I don't know if you know Casso.
Yeah.
Casso was on here a couple episodes.
Yeah, Casso's the homie, yeah.
Bro, shout out Casso. We were talking about that though. You got motherfuckers, bro. It's literally like a video game, create a character.
Yeah, for some people it is build up. I feel like when you don't have anything to build on, sometimes that's a method. And I don't want to say anything to build on like people, there's nothing about them, but like the homie Devo was talking about that too. Like there's a certain it factor that you have to have naturally. Like something about you has to make people want to be interested. And if that's the case, you either have that or you don't. And then sometimes you can build on that. If it's like not that much of an it factor, but there's something there, you can kind of build on top of that. And I feel like that's where the character building kind of comes. And also that is a testament to, or that's kind of compiled with how deep you want to get into a persona. Because I think I've seen that episode too, and I feel like you guys talked about like the WWE comparison type shit.
Yeah.
Rap has always, my pops used to tell me that, like it's always been that kind of like from the level of competition to story arcs to the way things go behind the scenes. Like it is that kind of Randy Savage, fucking, Dave Bautista, John Cena. Like you gotta have this, like you gotta have something that is about you. And you can look at it in two various forms, like one as a character or just really like the theme of who this person is. And I feel like the themes are more authentic and the characters kind of like, they come and sometimes they go. Some characters stay, but it's just like, that's a movie we like to see though. The character that gets a sequel, that's a movie we like to see.
True.
Type shit.
Bro, what's your thoughts on the fast food rap overall? Right now, you got so much trendy. You got motherfuckers that blow up on TikTok that have one hit song and then fall the fuck up. But just fast food rap overall, because I feel like that's the best way to describe overall the industry right now of shit that is popping globally.
Okay.
I feel like 95% of it is fast food rap right now. I feel like except for the people that have been in the industry for years, like we got a couple of artists that have popped up, but I can't even really think of that many.
Yeah.
That like ever since like SoundCloud era when X and shit died, I feel like there haven't been that many artists that have like popped up, except we have like Brent and a couple of other people that you could say emerged in that time period. But just where the music industry is at as a whole and the whole fast food shit with it.
Fast food rap, I feel like we have a lot of it, but then again, there's a lot of fast food, especially over here in America. So I feel like you took the conversation to an international level when you said there's like globally. And to be honest, I don't really listen to that much global sounds. A lot of the stuff is just like here in the States, unless I'm like listening to some Afrobeat or in a different genre. But that's crazy to know that they're doing fast food rap overseas, because it's like that's where they really herald hip hop. So if they're over there doing fast food rap, someone that constantly needs to talk. They like tap in and do some groundwork on what's going on overseas. But like, I feel like there's eras for everything, bro. There's time periods. The homie, the red haired homie. That's not the homie, but who I think who I'm talking about.
I don't even know. There's so many.
He got a few features. He was big last year. Oh no, not last year. A couple years ago. Either way, it don't matter. But it's like eras come and go. Moments happen. I feel like in culture we're gonna have moments, and I feel like that fast food is always gonna be there because people need something to eat right now. Like this is all I got. It's like a quick fix type of shit. And I feel like out of some of those fixes, you get a good hit. Like you get a good hit. I'm not gonna lie, some of the songs be rocking, but when we talk about what'll last, I think you kind of see it's kind of like what's the best analogy for it? Like I wouldn't even want to say, oh yeah, we'll just say there's a bunch of ships in the water, right? And then there's the wave that comes through, and then the wave is just like the shifting of the tide, not really necessarily need sounds, but just the way the world is moving. People are wanting for different, which is happening right now. People are wanting for different, wanting for more. The wave washes up all the fast food, all the small shit going on, and the stuff that has foundation. We'll just say the stuff that doesn't have foundation, and the stuff that has foundation, you see their ship, it may get a little, but it's still right there. There's still a sail. They're not flipped over. No Titanics, none of those situations. I feel like Titanic was a bad example, so I want to redact that. I want to take that back. But no, none of those type of situations. But those eras are gonna come and go, bro. We'll be old. We'll be, hopefully 90 years old with grandchildren listening to like, bro, what are you listening to?
Yeah, bro, probably. I mean, music changes so fucking frequently. We definitely are gonna be, bro. Definitely.
Can you imagine where it would be at that time period? And how we'll be listening to it?
Bro, just the music I grew up listening to compared to this shit now, I wouldn't think I'd be listening to this shit. So I can't picture.
For real?
I couldn't picture fucking Yeet and shit. When I was younger and like Drake and everyone was coming up and shit, I wouldn't picture seeing like Yeet in all of this music that we have like right now. Like that's that fair. Whole genre. Like the underground sound that we got right now.
Yeah.
I thought that whole like Drake, Rick Ross, all of that sound that was flowing, like even like Meek and everything. I feel like everyone, like the industry as a whole, it had an elevated hip hop like feel. And then I feel like as of recently, what hip hop isn't even really hip hop. Like mainstream hip hop, I don't even know what to call it. It's like its own genre. I don't know.
Nah, this shit's all hip hop, bro. That's another thing. I was like, I want people to really like be okay with that. Let's embrace it because one is bringing money to the culture. Yeah. The more influential the culture becomes, the more opportunities it creates. And that's the biggest thing, like, for me, like, one of the biggest things for me about doing this is, like, understanding the access and the opportunities that I can create being an artist if, in fact, that I do it to the best of my capability and reach my full potential. So when I think about that, it's like I understand that while their music may not always be my cup of tea, they about to turn a few people into millionaires who will hopefully turn a few other people into millionaires, and we can kind of pass that on type shit. And I don't care who it's for. It's just as long as it's in the name of positivity. I'm outside of a black or white. I don't care who's getting rich. Let's just get rich and be positive with the dollars.
I want to rephrase what I said a little bit because it's not being against all of it. I'm with it. But my biggest gripe with a lot of the modern day hip hop is the lack of substance in the music. I feel like to find artists of substance now, you can find artists with the image, you can find artists that will give you a vibe X, Y, and Z. But to find an artist that you're invested to the point where I feel like you're vulnerable and I feel like I know you. To find somebody with substance where it's like, even if I don't feel like I know you, you're talking about some shit that is so real, I fucking completely understand the situation. I feel like people have given up on just lyrics and the art of music, being able to story tell all of this shit. I feel like that's what I'm talking about, is all of those elements. I feel like mad of that is missing from the present day scene. And that's what I mean by shit being missing from hip hop, because I feel like that's what hip hop was built on. Yeah, you think the catalyst. And I would agree with you. And I feel like there's definitely an interview out there to where Jay says it's like, it's there, you kind of just got to look for it. No. It's harder than ever to find. Because, we're in the age of information, shit is so readily available, and what gets pushed to the top is not always the best for us. But you kind of got to, when you pull back all the layers or you kind of bleed through the white noise, you find those gems, and those be the artists you love. And a few years from now, they're Kendrick Lamar, they're J. Cole, they're Drake, they're, I feel like I wish I had some, they're Jid. Jid is someone who's, like, dope, and it's like, I have to be honest, early on, I wasn't as like hip to the wave, but like understanding bro's journey and like how we had that. I've never seen what happened to Lizzo with a record so many years later being big until I hear Jid's story and how they're pushing that and kind of rolling that out. And that's really dope because it goes to show like that's a young ass platform, TikTok.
his song is, you know, he's in a different space as age, as an artist, and just where he's at in his career. And the song went viral that many years later. And so it's like, it shows that like you kind of got to do the digging, which is well, I don't know if that's unfair, because think about it like this. If it was back in the day, if you was in the 90s, would you be going to the store to buy CDs?
Yeah.
If it was the 80s, would you be going to the store to buy vinyls?
Yeah.
So why won't you go through your DSP to find what you want?
Fair point.
So, but I feel like, I agree with you as well, though. Like, why isn't some shit readily available? Because back in the day, they're going to put the best album at the front. They're not going to put, like, they're going to put that real hip-hop shit at the front. They're not going to put what we're getting these days. Not to say that it's not real hip-hop shit, because I feel like hip-hop has expanded. So, like, you know, the reach for hip-hop is crazy. But I do get what you're saying, bro. I wish it was some more readily available full meals instead of
instead of the fast food.
instead of the fast food, man. Damn. So are you a big Substance person in your music?
Bro, I can't invest myself into an artist unless there's substance.
Okay.
I can't. Like, there's like certain people that I'll listen to for vibe purposes, but that's what it's for. It's vibe purposes.
Type
like
shit.
The people that I listen to for vibe purposes, I'm not gonna go buy merch.
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna pay. I might pay to go to a show, but it's not gonna be like I'm sitting there like, oh, I'm gonna be like paying attention and I'm gonna go there, probably get fucked up and have a good time at that type of shit.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like,
okay, that's fair.
I don't know. For me to find like a artist that I'm deeply invested in, like I said, I'm gonna go buy merch. I'm gonna go buy tickets. I'm gonna pay attention every single drop. They gotta have substance. I gotta like have some sort of idea of their story, or even if I don't know their story itself, like I gotta have some shit to relate to within the music. For me, substance is a deal breaker.
Yeah, there's got to be something beyond the music, which is fair. I feel like we want something to be drawn into outside of like what people just showcasing their art type shit. So I damn, I feel like I'm interviewing you now, but I do have a question, because you would like use Yeet as an example, but the homie Yeet is in the studio with Childish Gambino right now.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say. So here's the thing that I would say that's weird about the industry nowadays. I feel like substance comes in so many different forms. Because now my little dilemma, and this is where it gets tricky, why I say like the music side of shit, I have certain people that I will fuck with their internet personality, even though internet personalities are probably fake. Yeah. But I will not pay attention to their music at all whatsoever for the most part. But I'll be invested into them as a person in the way they are on social media.
Yeah,
so it's
social
like
media.
Substance comes in different ways. I'd say nowadays a lot more than it did back then. Okay. But like for me to do the actual music listening, that's what it needs to be. Because even, I'll be honest, like there's mad people even around here I know, like I'll be cool with them. I have respect for the music, but I'm not getting in the car playing their shit all the time. But if it's like on a people sense, I'm supporting. I'll go post your shit. Even if I don't listen to it, I'll go post your shit. But also, like, I'm not going to, if I don't fuck with your music, I'm not going to get you on my platform and sit here and have an hour-long conversation with you. That's where I mean, like, the line is drawn.
Yeah, the barriers.
Like, yeah, like for me with the podcast, it got to be either the music just checks out and I'm just curious about the personality, but I also want to get more into the music, or it checks out. I've heard both. I've heard the personality's good, or I already know the personality's good. Like those two boxes got to check. Yeah. I mean, now, like the state I'm at with this shit.
Yeah, that's fire rubric though. I love that rubric.
Like I can't, bro. And anyone that I haven't done an interview with, I'm sorry, and I mean this in the least offensive way, but just like make better music. I'm at a stage right now. I don't mean to sound like a dickhead saying this, but I've been doing this so long that
I feel you, though.
I'm just so selective now where it's like, bro, it's growth in general. Like I don't want to sit here and have conversations that I would have been having 3 years ago when I wasn't able to get people of substance and stuff. So now I'm at a stage where it's like the music got to get my attention, and like I said, the personal side of it. Like I've said this many times. Proper approaches, if you want to get an interview, don't just DM me, yo, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
Like reach out properly. Tell me you got a body of work, some shit.
And heavy on the personality, because let me say this, Mike Hammer. Yo, people make art. Art doesn't make people. So remember that. Remember that. Please remember that. Because I feel like sometimes we get that. We floating around people that's making stuff, they're floating around, or they're being creatives, especially a lot of the people who are discovering their creativity. Because I got a homie that says we're all innately creatives. So as people or human beings, so people who are discovering their creatives early on, no matter what point in life they're at, they sometimes lose sight. Like, I'm glad that you found out that you can do some dope shit, but don't forget that there's real shit going on out here in the world type shit.
Straight up, bro. I got a good question I came up with on the last podcast that I'm probably going to start asking a lot of people, and you're the second person I'm asking it. Do you think that short form content is killing art? Dude, I'm so happy I asked Quality this on the last episode because I didn't even realize it until we were talking about short form content.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this shit is literally killing everything because you go in the booth. I feel like a lot of artists now, you make a song, you're thinking about having it ready for TikTok in mind. When you go film videos, a lot of people aren't even shooting music videos now. They're just shooting the little mini Instagram videos. And I feel like overall it's killing the art aspect of it. If it's like now everything's about the view grabbing and everything's about, just being digestible within 10 seconds rather than, okay, I have a 3-minute song. Why am I trying to advertise 10 seconds?
Exactly.
Do you think it's killing the art overall?
I hate short form content so much that we don't allow like on our master link to like when you listen to the album, you know, so sometimes you can listen to previews of the songs. You can't even listen to the preview of the songs. That's how much I hate short form content because it's like go listen to not in a forceful way, but like you're gonna enjoy it. Like trust me, I would have not posted this link if I didn't think somebody was gonna fuck with it. So but I think there's places and time for everything, right? I feel like if we talk to the earlier conversation we're having, we're like, if you're in the beginning stages, especially independent, you're trying to grow your audience or just maybe figure out who your audience is and put stuff out. If that's within the confines of your resources to create short form content, then by all means do it. But I feel like once you've kind of established what your brand is, if it doesn't make sense for you and you're doing it for views, I was about to say you're a weirdo, but I don't want to use that type stuff. So I'm going to say that's interesting, but I also understand it. Maybe you're trying to grow on the business side of things because some people just look at it purely as a business. Views equate to monetization, which you can, all the great stuff. So there's that. But I feel like if you're someone who, like myself, is very like thoughtful, conceptual, meticulous, it doesn't really go together unless it's something like we put out a short form piece of content with the album trailer, which was kind of like me delivering a message and the album kind of being the message in itself. And this is my first time speaking on this, but it's like the idea of that trailer was to kind of serve as the kind of the
appetizer,
the ushering in really to the album. What the album's meaning is it being a message to kind of like not even just the people, but like my audience or like whoever's listening. It's like, this is my message. It took me 2 years to come up to be able to say all of these things. This is honestly what I was working on before, not safe for work, but you're getting it now because I'm closing this chapter and I'm kind of ending off with this message. And the capturing of me going through like the city is kind of like with even listening to the music. I'm ideally listening to the mixes. I was listening to the album as we were filming that. And it's kind of like, that's one of the things I do naturally when I'm towards the end of an album. Like I want to see how it feels in real time because most people listen to music on headphones. I don't know if everybody knows that, but like that's like really a proven fact. So every time I'm going through like mixes and we're doing the different ABs and car tests, I always make sure I get a good listen out about like in the city, like in the rough of everything, listening to the album and like really getting a sense of how the tracks make me feel in different elements. So like as I'm outside, because that's where people are going to be listening to my music, I'm like, assuming, but for the most part, they really are. So I just want to see how that feels. And I wanted to share that because that's something that I do. So I felt like I wanted to find different ways of bringing people into like how I create an album or like just the inside of my artistry as I was rolling out this album. And I thought that would be a dope way to kind of convey that message. I'm not sure if people got it or interpreted it that way, but interpret it how you want. To your point, it was an appetizer before the album, but it was again a short form piece of content. But it made sense.
You kept the art
Yeah.
Kept the art in it.
Yeah, I kept the art in it. It wasn't more so like just to gain views or anything like that because I personally don't do that. But I understand, especially with those dope visuals, because you gotta be honest, some of them shits is fire.
No, and that's the thing. Like, there's certain, if you could tell artists care, like someone like Manny, for instance.
Yeah.
Manny cares about this
clean
shit.
content.
And he's like, he still dropped a video with the shit that he be doing.
Yeah.
But in general, like, you have people that will do what he does. But then the art all around isn't in the music. Like it's just they're doing it for the wrong reasons and just going after short form, sacrificing everything else with it.
Yeah,
that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, and I feel like you can see that.
You can see
that. You can see through that immediately, and so it's just like but people are gonna try their hand at this, and they'll continue, and we'll grow in it, and you'll have those people who some people it work for. Some people it doesn't, and they'll figure out, and they'll be because there's some people that have that method, and are really dope artists, but just haven't found their what it makes sense for them yet. And so it's really dope to see those stories, to see the people transition out of that and kind of come into their self as artists. You spoke about Sabo earlier. That's someone I'm excited about. You know, the Gemini. You know, that's the bro. We both Gemini, so it's like like, you feel me? Like, I got mad love for Sabo, and I'm excited to see where he takes shit, because like he is just as creative as anybody else, and I'm gonna say, and I don't know, Sabo just looked like an artist.
He got mad energy. I was gonna say he just looked like an artist. He got mad energy.
Really
he got the
like
sense of humor, yo.
Yeah,
like Sabo. Shout out Sabo, bro. Shout out Sabo. Last time I saw you, you were drunk as shit at Stubborn Show. The motherfucker was off his ass, bro.
Okay. Yeah. Sabo teed up in the spot.
Bro, shout out Sabo. I wonder if you got the Integra too. I gotta check up on him. You know if you got it?
Nah, I'm not him.
Oh, nah, because he's a car homie. Every time I see him, we just be talking about cars.
Okay, you went into automobiles?
I love cars, bro.
Okay.
I love cars.
Is your shit kitted out, or?
Yeah, I got the M4 out there that's kitted out.
Okay. Okay. Are you big on the like racing films and games and shit like that, or just cars?
Bro, I just like I've loved cars forever.
Okay.
Like I'll play like racing games here and shit, but I don't be doing all the extra shit. Like I will never sit there and like watch races and stuff.
Okay, so this might be a weird question then. Have you ever seen Cars the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, there's not really a question.
Yeah. Like Cars. You seen the new Gran Turismo shit?
No, I didn't, but I wanted to.
It's on Netflix.
Oh,
watch that shit. That shit was mad.
Wait,
good.
didn't it come out in theaters though?
Yeah, it's on Netflix already. It's been on Netflix for like 3 months now. That shit.
Wow,
Yeah.
I wanted to see it in IMAX because they were saying to see it in IMAX.
I wish I saw it. But it's funny you said that because I saw everyone saying that, and when I watched it on my TV, I literally said the same thing. I was like, I wish I saw this shit.
Yeah, type shit. Okay.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. That one's hard.
Yeah, that was good. What I forget. There's like some other good racing movies too, but the Gran Turismo one probably by far the best movie, like racing movie I've seen in a while.
Okay.
Way better than any of the fucking previous Fast and Furious that came out.
I was just about to ask you, are you considering those racing films?
No, those, bro, them shits, when Paul Walker died, them shits stopped being racing movies, bro.
No,
they were already
crazy.
heist movies then, but bro,
yeah.
motherfuckers went to space the last movie. I didn't even watch the last movie. I just heard they went to space, and I was like, yo, I'm done. And I heard they brought Paul Walker back to life. And I was like, yo.
Wait, what?
You didn't hear about that?
Nah, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear they.
Bro, at the end of the movie, they did a CGI Paul Walker, and he's gonna be in the next Fast and Furious. Like it's completely CGI Paul Walker.
Oh, hey man, hey man.
Bro,
that's crazy.
I mean, they brought fucking Bruce Lee back to life for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, they did. Oh, that movie I didn't get to check out in the theater,
really?
but I did want to see that just because of how super casted it was.
Dude, do you know what the movie's about?
I was just like the day-to-day of a set out there is what I saw from what I got from the trailer, kind of.
Bro, that's what I thought it was too. And without ruining everything, because it explains it early on, it's about the fucking Manson cult, bro. It's about Charles Manson and shit. And I didn't know that when I watched the movie. And if you like 15, 20 minutes in, you pick up on it. Yo, watch that movie. You're gonna if you watch it, you're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? Like that is actually. I think I only watched it once. I don't think I went back and watched it. But in the past, like I think that came out in the past five years. Okay. That's one of my favorite movies that came out. Like that shit was fire. Okay, that shit was fire. I forgot about that.
You know a lot of films, so I'm asked, are you big on film?
I love movies.
Okay,
I love movies.
A movie person.
Love movies.
So I gotta ask top 3.
Scarface.
Okay.
Scarface, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Menace to Society. I'll say those 3. What's yours?
Ooh, that's a hard top 3.
Yeah,
that's a hard top 3.
3.
I would say. Very quirky to begin with. Toy Story. I just love how they put
so fire. Yo, I always
together.
be rocking. I got these fucking buzzing Woody pajamas, bro. I always be when I come here late night. I'll just be in my Toy Story.
Okay.
pajamas.
Yeah, I like that. That movie was like, I'm like, damn, this shit is hard. That, damn, how did I just forget my favorite film? That's crazy. Well, I'll just say my other 2 because I can't remember that right now. The 1917. I like how that. I don't know.
Yo, that was that the one that was all one shot?
Yes,
dude, that shit. I saw that in the movies.
Yeah,
and I ate mad edibles before, and I was grilled as shit. That shit was a geek out. Yo. That shit was one of my most fun movie experiences.
Okay, y'all fuck with that. That's one of my favorite films.
Bro,
so, do you like the idea of that film style,
bro? That shit to me, the fact that they were able to do that, I just want to know how many times they fucked up.
and you know the legend behind that, it isn't many times.
Yeah, no, did Christopher Nolan direct that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when he's outstanding with his work.
The best director.
Damn, that's crazy. I'm just kind of I'm forgetting. I was blanking right now for whatever reason. But I would say, yeah, Toy Story, 1917, and to be honest, just because I can't remember like any of the Equalizer series, like those are yeah. And I feel like that's a mixture. That list was a mixture of like stuff that I like for cinematography, because I'm a big cinephile. Like I go to the, like I tell people this all the time. You might see me in the movies on a random Tuesday, 11 a.m. Like yo, bro, what are you doing here? Like yo, I was just watching I literally just watched like 2 films, because that's what I kind of do to like disassociate type shit. So I'm big on movies, but
you saw Oppenheimer?
Nah, I didn't see Oppenheimer.
It was good, but like you're a movie person, so you'd appreciate it. But I went with someone that was not a movie person. They fell asleep like 30 minutes in. That shit was like 3 hours, 45 minutes.
I heard it was a slow burn.
It was a good movie, but like, bro, you gotta be like wide the fuck awake to like watch that shit and fully. I watched it twice now, because I watched it one time since it went on. I think it's on HBO now. I watched it a second time, like on and off, half paying attention. Yeah. It's a good ass movie, but that shit, like, that's not a movie I'm gonna sit there and rerun just because of the length alone, bro. Yeah. But you should watch that. That was good.
I want to check that one out. I hear that's like big on dialogue, which I'm not like, unless I know there's gonna be a lot of great actors in it, because that's the more nuance of a film, when you're like supposed to be paying attention to how well people's doing on screen. And like
visuals are crazy though, because they didn't use any CGI for the whole movie.
That's what makes me more interested, especially for the like practical action scenes, like when they're blowing shit up. I'm like, damn,
bro, the nuke scene, they literally like no CGI
in a whole town. It's like, yo, the fact that, but a testament to how good he is at movie making, that they approved these ridiculous budgets for him to do crazy shit that I'm pretty sure he had to try a couple of times before they got the right shot.
Bro.
And I'm not like, not to put nothing on Christopher Nolan, but I feel like he's behind the lens like, nah, let's do it again. And it's like a perfect shot. Like, yo, he's going over budget.
Bro, because his movies, he hasn't had one miss. Like Interstellar, fire as fuck.
You named it.
That's it. That's what it was.
That's the second one.
Bro, Interstellar is such a good movie. Yo. If you like that, you should watch, what was the shit? Life, I watched recently. Who was in that? Ryan Reynolds is in it. Jake Gyllenhaal, and then there's 2 other actors in it. It's another space movie. Watch that shit. If you
okay, that's a different Life, because I thought you was talking about Life with Eddie Murphy.
No. I'm talking about this. It's a new. I think it came out 2 or 3 years ago, but it's another space movie.
Okay,
bro, that shit will freak you the fuck out.
Okay, are you big on like? There's 2 things. Are you big on post-apocalyptic type shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
You watch The Last of Us show?
Nah. I haven't watched that. So I'm like more of a like Walking Dead. There's this series on Netflix called The 100. It was originally on like.
I used to watch that when I was younger, when it was on CW.
Okay,
I watched like the first season or 2, but I was mad young.
That to me, I don't know how many post-apocalyptic shows you watch or movies or like even shit that you read. That to me is the most accurate prediction. Like, you know how they say The Simpsons predict shit? Yeah. That is the most accurate prediction of the possibilities of what could happen.
What's the way that it happened? Isn't it? Is it nukes?
It's nukes by AI.
Hey, yo.
Someone creates an Elon Musk type of individual, woman, creates AI technology that basically, because, to Cat Williams' point, all the nukes are running off regular Wi-Fi, has somehow hacked in and decides that the only way to cleanse the earth and get everybody to be peaceful is to kill everybody and start over. And so that happens. 100 people go, like, you know, you have the elites of the elites and prisoners, and a few people go up to space. They live up there for like 100 years or so in crypto, Cairo chambers and shit like that. Then they send everybody on the ship sends 100 people down to Earth to see if it's habitable. And the 100 people are comprised of both prisoners and like people like in the clergy, their children and shit. But everyone's a child. They don't send no old people down to Earth. So now it's children restarting governance and everything.
Christ.
And it gets weird towards the end seasons, but like that, the first couple of seasons, it's like when they get back to Earth and realize that there was people there that survived, that's like, okay, damn. And what I saw from that was like, okay, there is a future. If God forbid, because I don't want to shit like that, but like there is a future for us, like for people that didn't leave, like we, you know, not everybody has to escape to space and type. Even though I'm going to Mars, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would pull up to Mars type shit.
That would be fire, bro.
You feel me? I feel like they was doing a bunch of planet jumping on Interstellar That's who's homie that plays the main character in that again?
Was it Matthew McConaughey?
Yes, it is Matthew McConaughey. And the reason I watched that film is because at the time, I didn't see it in theaters. At the time, it was on Netflix. But the promotion, you know how Netflix does a promotion. Yeah. He's on the face of it. And he had the scene in Wolf on Wall Street in the restaurant. This is, you see how big I am on film? Exactly. It's like there's certain movies I watch for dialogue because I'm picking up the nuance. And there's certain shit that I'm watching for the cinematography. But I feel like it's varying because I'm not going to watch like, while I love Don't Be a Menace. Wait.
I said Menace to Society. Yeah, Don't Be a Menace is funny as shit.
Don't Be a Menace. Don't Be a Menace. I'm not watching that for cinematography. I'm more so watching that to laugh. But like, I feel like the cinematography on Menace to Society was really good. There was a lot of dope moments in that film. Yeah, type shit. But Interstellar definitely got it top 2 for me.
I think the older I get, I might have to swap Menace out with Paid in Full now that I think about it. I don't know, though, because of Menace I've just watched so many times. But I'm sitting there thinking Paid in Full is so fucking good.
You fucked with Paid in Full?
I love Paid in Full, bro.
I did not fuck with it, but I felt like it was like, as I watched it back a few times, I really don't like Ice.
I haven't watched it in a while, so I gotta say.
The Ice character, I really don't. I didn't really sit well with the character for Ice, but like, I feel like it was good golden era, golden age movie film, but to be honest, this is gonna sound crazy, but I like Paper Soldiers more than I like.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, and that was before, like that was like at the beginning of Dame's film stage before he got like bigger budgets and shit like that. But Paper Soldiers was hilarious type shit. I feel like I fucked with Paid in Full too, but you know, I feel like I just seen that so much, so it was just like type shit. Yeah,
I feel like I watched Menace so much. That's why I even just said Paid in Full in the first place, because I haven't even watched Paid in Full probably like 3-4 years now that I think about it. Okay. Menace I watch probably every like 3 months, bro. And just see it on Netflix or see it on whatever it is. I'll just throw Menace on one night.
Do you know where you were at when you first saw it?
Bro, my dad, shout out my dad if you're watching this. My dad was the worst influence, bro. This motherfucker, I was like 2 years old. They had me going to bed to Scarface every single night for the first like 3 years. Like this dude literally, because he was starting a business when I was younger. Yeah, bro was watching Scarface every single night. So I grew up for my first like 3 to 4 years of my life watching Scarface every night. And then I think he made me watch Menace when I was like 5 years old. Yo.
He was getting you ready for the real world.
Bro was watching me. He's like sitting there like, don't do this. Don't do this. Take this lesson from this. When I'm like 5 years old. Yeah, I just grew up and I'm like, I still watch that shit.
Nah, that's a film that you definitely can put, and that film itself is art. Like what they were able to capture with that, and just that run of films that how am I forgetting homie's name right now? I directed that film. He's no longer with us. But
John Witherspoon, right?
Did he? No, not him. Witherspoon's an actor.
Who was it? I know who you're talking about because he's the one who made Snowfall, right? He's the one who made Snowfall. I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is disrespectful right now. Forgive me.
I feel bad, bro. John Singleton.
John Singleton. You know, a pioneer in hip hop, not just in film, but a pioneer in hip hop. You know, brought us a series of films that was ridiculous, both visually, conceptually, had the nuance, had the characters, had great actors that, you know, gave us amazing performances on screen. I wish I could have been in that era of acting. He would have picked me up.
Yeah, bro.
He'd have picked me up.
The era of movies in general, like everything was so much better back then than it is now, bro.
I feel like even the acting, bro. Like I'm really big on films. I be feeling like sometimes people is just like knowing that they're not even looking at scripts no more. Like even when I hear some people that like on their press run, cause you know I'm big on the paying attention to shit. So like I watch certain press runs after movies come out, and then the person's talking about how they got the script, and they're like, yeah, I got the script. I read it in the first night, and I was immediately moved. And I was just like, I'm like, yo, there's no, bro. I seen some like draft scripts. There's no way you're reading all that shit in one night. And it's like, and then I'll see the performance on screen, and I don't feel like it's as captivating. And I feel like sometimes people are, you know, Hollywood's picking the biggest ticket instead of going with the best performances. Yeah. And then we'll hear later on, years down the line, about people who should have got the roles. And it's like the Will Smith, Keanu Reeves situation, like Will Smith turning down Matrix.
Oh damn! Like, I didn't even know that.
I'm glad though.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
We wouldn't have John Wick.
Like you feel me? Like I'm not mad at that. I feel like he knew what was right for him at the time, and it didn't make sense. And I feel like Keanu Reeves, it made sense. Like you know, weird story. he didn't notice me, but I saw Keanu Reeves on the L train in New York one time, just candidly reading the paper.
Yo, you see the memes, bro?
Yeah.
You see the memes of him just like on the train?
Oh yeah, casually. That's why when
I
ran it, that's why when that moment happened for me, that was another thing. Like I don't know how it correlates. That let me know, like, okay, yeah, what I'm doing as an artist, I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how the two connect, but I saw him and I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. But then I have a lot of homies in New York who tell me like they're like not phased to that shit. Like they're super jaded to it because you can run into anybody like casually. But like we live in Boston. I can't just run into Taraji P. Henson. So if I see her, I might lose my shit.
That's still crazy though, bro. It's funny you say that because literally I see the memes all the time of Keanu just out and about, like, and how much of a down-to-earth lifestyle he lives. But the fact you're saying you literally saw this dude on the train is fucking crazy.
I walk in, I tell you, and I don't never sit down on New York trains. It's like, unless it's like I'm wasted, it's really late. I'll stand by the door. I turn around, homie is here, glasses on, paper. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And nobody's bothering him.
Bro.
And that's why I'm like, but that's another reason another connection I drew is like, damn, this person could be this big of a movie star and be tranquil. And it's like, I'm not sure if other people didn't notice him, but I doubt, like, at that point, I saw several memes of you. Not necessarily memes, but just photos. Because Hidden NY posts, I don't know if you follow Hidden NY, but they post him
a lot. All the pictures of him over there.
Yeah.
But still, that gotta be crazy, bro. You're just sitting on the train and you see fucking John Wick across from you.
Type shit. Well, he wasn't John Wick when I see him. Type shit. He wasn't John Wick. He was still Neo from, you know. And then I know he has a few other films, right? Type shit.
Yeah. But those are like the two main ones.
Yeah, John Wick.
Those are the two main ones.
John Wick.
Oh, yeah. That shit is crazy. I don't know how the hell I'd react. Bro, I didn't even realize, though. We're already at an hour and a half.
Crazy.
We're at an hour and a half because before we got in the whole movie conversation, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to the closing question because, you know, short attention spans with these motherfuckers. No disrespect to you guys, but just the common audience nowadays has a short attention span. So I've been trying to keep the episodes under the hour and a half mark. Okay, but that's how you know it's good-ass conversation because I didn't even fucking notice the time. Right? So I appreciate this. Look, bro. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. But one question I know that I wanted to ask before everything was over is just, I got a couple, I think I got like 3 or 4 more. But we'll see. It will probably end up being more because it's side questions. But I know one I wanted to get out of the way. Just your thoughts on the overall New England scene from when you stepped in everything and when you first became aware until where it's at now. And just the overall growth, people you've interacted with, X, Y, and Z, just your thoughts on where the scene's at.
Type B, I feel like the scene's in a very flourishing place from when I was like noticing it early on, like telling my homies internally, like, you know, amongst our like peer group or whatever, that I wanted to do music, but not still being like 8th, 9th grade at that time, and then seeing things happen around me, certain movements go on. Like Malfi was very big at the time I was coming up and had the city on lock. Like the shirts, the campaign, he was outside. Like, and I knew at that point, and that's something also is like a testament. It's like, if I get into this shit, I want to do it the right way because I have someone who I saw doing it the right way. And then you fast forward, you have multiple, like, I want to be transparent too to say I'm always learning. I just recently watched the Dark Adams interview and I'm learning shit about hip hop that I didn't know. Like, my pop's not originally from Boston, so it's like he's not able to drop those gems. Like, he could tell me about where he's from, but when it comes to out here, like, I pick up certain gems from my mother. You know, she used to be into journalism back in the day. But she wasn't really big on hip hop, like, especially not local. It's more of a Main Street thing, like it is for most people. Like, so I kind of had to do my own digging and, you know, finding stuff out as far as like historical facts. But I feel like that 2012, what everybody talks about, like, you know, the 12 for 12 era, that's something that I kind of got to be like not a voyager, but like I'm much younger than niggas at the time. So like I'm in certain spots and I'm kind of just vibing and I'm just like happy to be there in a sense of like, yo, I'm not even old enough to be in here right now type shit. Like, but nobody's knowing now. I was always much taller for my age, started growing facial hair earlier. So it's like, you know, you feel me? That's cool. That's the little homie that hoop. That's cool. He's cool. He can come through type shit in certain situations. Then there was certain situations where I was standing on my own and, you know, people were mistaking me for being earlier in my career than I was. And it's like, because they see me from being around, just developing that familiarity. But like you would have, like, I remember when I really started getting to the dig of it, it's like you got Pilot Nation, which is like the homie Plaid. You had Boogie at the time. You had like a lot of homies from like, you had Replay. Like there was just a lot of people where in that specific era, they really had shit on lock as far as the streets go, to where you was going to parties, you was seeing them. You was outside at different functions, even if it wasn't just a party, it was just at different functions, you was seeing them. Like, they were functioning. Like, they were outside, making sure that they was at the function. And then, you know, you kind of, I feel like you fast forward to 2015, 2016, that's when things started to move digitally. Parties were kind of like on their way out the doors, house parties, which are making a comeback now. Shout out to DJ Ray Vino making a comeback with the house parties, you know, and Bensel's doing his house party thing too. So that's dope. Shout out to them. But like, that era was kind of moving on its way out, and you had Stiz, who was bubbling and doing his thing online. And that first album or project mixtape, Suffolk County, began to take off and, you know, give us a different perspective on what it could look like to be an artist from here. But before that, I feel like I didn't have too many examples. Of course, I knew of people like Avenue. While I wasn't that big on the music at the beginning, like, you knew of the presence. Like, you just knew. Like, if you knew, you knew type of situation. I feel like that's what Boston hip hop has been for a while. We're just now at a point where it's like you can kind of go outside of the music community, and there may be one or two people that know of somebody or something, because the looks are getting bigger, the opportunities are getting better, the music is getting doper. Like, I talk to a lot of people, especially like when we're in studio conversations, I'm like, the biggest thing for us I want to see is like the songs like getting better, in the sense of like, we have records that can compete, like Billboard charting records that can compete, and we're making those things, and we're giving it that push type shit. But I feel like I've been in various groups, bro. To name all of them would be crazy.
Yeah, no, you don't got to do it. Everybody always be doing the name dropping, and then motherfuckers get offended. You don't got to do all that.
Yeah, type shit.
Bro, it's a beautiful thing, though. I've only been in the scene like 4 years now at this point. Like, literally, yeah, I think February is 4 years exactly, now that I'm thinking about it. And this growth I've seen just in the past 4 years, bro, it's a beautiful thing. And then all the shit you're talking about, like Suffolk County, I was in like fucking 6th grade listening to that shit in the burbs, bro. And then
that's hard, though.
Yeah, but then now
that's
like
hard.
Everyone I know witnessed it firsthand, being involved. And then I hear about like the Mouthies. Like, I didn't even know about Mouthie until like two and a half years ago, bro.
That's like crazy. I gotta give you a story. So there's a summer that, and I gotta be transparent, because I definitely never said this in an interview, but I always talk about this, because I remember when it dropped, when Stiz dropped Suffolk County, I remember the shout out video came out, and seeing him on the VFW Parkway Strip, what that did for me in my heart, I'm like, okay, yes, not only is the music dope, but we got a hard visual to go with it. And bro, it's like, the song was just so effortless. That album was just so effortless. To me, that was really like an album. I know like some people, like, I mean, he may even classify it as a mixtape, but that was a great album. And it was the soundtrack to that summer for me. And that's what, like, I definitely have to give Stiz kudos to being like a testament of how we create for, I think anybody can speak, like I can speak for anybody from Mass when saying, like, when we talk about creating on a high level and something cohesive and something that's supposed to feel like New England and supposed to be a soundtrack to people's lives, you're kind of putting that up there with albums and like, or projects or whatever, however you want to classify it. But for me, that summer that came out, bro, shout out to the money front of drugs. Shout out to the money front of drugs. Yo, I'm like, I couldn't, no funny shit. Me and the homies was running that whole shit back to back. And it's like, there's my favorite replay verses on there.
Yeah.
My favorite replay verses on there. Replay gave Stiz one of his greatest. Every time he stood behind one of these, it's like he gave it to Stiz in that moment. I feel like that was just like a classic moment for the city, and I feel like that definitely was a time. But we're fast forward, we're in the space that we're at now, and like shit is just as dope and continue to be doper. And I feel like the opportunities are getting better, because I'm like, damn, what if Stiz would have popped out like now, like given all the resources and opportunity that are back here, like what would he been able to do? So like, I'm trying to see where we take shit type shit.
It's definitely, bro, like these next couple years, I feel like the past couple years have been just a foundation year and everybody coming together, everybody polishing everything. But I feel like right now, like it's a waiting game, and it's just going to be that chain reaction. And everybody was kind of talking about it, not from a delusional sense. I don't want to say delusional is the right word, but I feel like everybody had a lot of seasoning to get. I think that's like the best way to put it. Everybody had a lot of seasoning to get where everyone's like, oh, bro, this is a year for Mass. This is a year for Mass. But this is the first year where I feel like, all right, it's actually got to be like the year. And the whole phase where Atlanta and New York, everywhere had their little like spotlights. It's way overdue for us. And I feel like that shit's going to start soon. And once it starts, we're going to have the limelight, have our little run, and it's going to be Massachusetts artists popping up mainstream left and right. Like,
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm here for it all.
We're all in the waiting game right now, yo.
I'm here for it all.
Who knows? Bro, one of these times I'm talking about this on the podcast where everyone's talking about it, we're going to like go wake up and then the next morning somebody just random blows up and we're going to be like, bro, what we were talking about last night, what the fuck?
Exactly.
That's going to happen one of these days. I mean, there's already been examples of it happening. People fucking just going up and up. It's crazy.
Type shit, yeah.
One thing I got to ask you before everything ends too. How'd you come up with the name? Anybody watching this?
My name, Haawws?
Yeah.
It was actually kind of chosen, given to me. So I'll go through the story. I've been through it before. This is funny.
You told it on other pods?
I don't know if I've told it on other pods, but I definitely have like spoke about it in person, like in Candid, around the homies and in different like, you know, small situations or whatever the case may be. But used to hoop, was at Madison before transferring to English with the, you know, the legendary coach Dennis Wilson. So practice going on, you know, practice is going well. You know, this is one of the better practices, especially for myself, because I was someone who sometimes showing up to practice late, not doing what I'm supposed to, not jogging when I'm supposed to. Like, you feel me? I definitely could be a lot to handle back in my adolescence, type shit. But it's one practice where, you know, I feel like we break for water or something, and the homies is like, calling me off the side of like Haawws, like just saying it, and he kind of catches wind, and he's like, you know, you want to be cool, he's coach, so he's like tapping in, he's like, and he starts saying it, but he's calling me Sauce. And if anybody watching this knows, we already got a legendary Sauce in the city. He's from Dorchester, the one and only, so it's like I could never be Sauce, but they were like, nah, they had to recorrect him because some of the homies caught wind of he kept saying Sauce, and they're like, nah, coach, Haawws, like Haawws, like Haawws, and then Coach Wilson is definitely could sometimes be a character. Nickname. Yeah, it was like
that's crazy.
It was kind of like, well, my actual name is Hassan.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
It was like I don't really, and that's another thing to the character thing. Like it's my name, like it's just my name abbreviated type shit. It's like it's not nothing too crazy, and So I guess it's not that crazy for story after all. It's really just like, you know, the coach was like calling me the wrong name. They corrected him, and then he was like, oh. And then it stuck. That's the thing, though, like, because, you know, sometimes, like, I'm glad that I didn't give myself a nickname. Like, people chose it, because, you know, sometimes when you try to name yourself, it don't stick. Like, it kind of stuck around the high school, and then it transferred when I transferred type shit. And then, you know, that's kind of, like, been, nobody really calls me by my actual name. I kind of like that, too, because, like, if you don't know me like that, like, don't be calling me by my government type shit. And I don't know who's listening, so, like, don't be calling me by my government.
Bro, I hate when motherfuckers say government. Whenever people call me Gabriel, I'm like, bro, like, I haven't heard that shit since unless I was getting disciplined by my parent, I didn't even hear that from my parents.
Exactly. Like, and I feel like for artists sometimes that do have stage names, a lot of times there's a lot of escapism in art, too. To where somebody, especially in music, where some people do this and they build these characters to escape their past lives. Yeah. So for some people, their government names could be triggering. I know sometimes for me, it does, because my name being called is also sometimes been associated with like traumatic situations. So it's like, depending on who you are, I don't really like going like when people refer to me like by my government name or my actual name, just because sometimes it feels, and I already deal with anxiety and shit like that. So sometimes it feels a little awkward. Like I'll immediately be like, damn, what's going on? What's happening? Why are you using my government name? Yeah, sounds like a serious situation, but it don't be that serious. So Haawws, chill, and I kind of will just, you know, chill out. But it is what it is. But there is that aspect of it too, to where people. You with that, bro. Yeah,
I feel you with that. When everyone says my full name, I'm just like. It's like that little pause.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yo.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're saying.
You get it.
Shit. Talk about Haawws, though. This is second to last question. End of an era from the sounds of it. And I got to go listen to the past project because I didn't even get a chance to check that out. And I didn't know that it was like this whole continuation thing. Bro, I got to say, too, anybody that's watching this and also for you, the motherfuckers that I'm like really just questioning, like, okay, like you popped out of thin air. As far as I'm aware, when I saw your shit, obviously you were putting in groundwork for years, but I just find out about you randomly. Like, I don't I'll listen to whatever the current thing is I found you about, and I just want to get the raw reaction of just finding out the
Who
story.
you are.
I hate doing that Instagram deep dive. You come in here, I'm like a fucking little needy stalker. Like, I know everything about you. I'd rather
Nardwuar?
yeah, like, bro, I hate that shit. Like, I'd rather you come in here, I find out what I find out genuinely,
and
like,
organic.
throughout conversation.
Yeah.
And then that. So anybody that's like, oh, dude didn't listen to the album, whatever, fuck you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I fuck with that though. I appreciate like the transparency and the honesty too, and like that's your method. Like you like to people to come in and then based on the conversation.
I'm more invested.
Yeah.
If I can sit here and I could talk to somebody, I could see the layers beyond the artist.
shit.
Like if I sit there and then do that, then it's like, damn. Like I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to that project.
Exactly.
Tomorrow I drive for work. Tomorrow when I go to work, it's gonna be listen to that project and listen to the one I listened to today right after to see the comparisons and the growth throughout it.
Type shit.
But end of an era. What can people expect for this new era of Haawws? And I mean, like I said, brand new year, 2024. You're fresh off this new project, so I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit of a gap until people get that new sound. But what can fans expect in the future?
I feel like definitely more raps. The homie Devo's got us like, yo, what are we waiting for? Like, what are we waiting for? That's you. That bag is you. Which I do like to I like to get in that bag, but sometimes I don't want to overly get in that bag. Of like they gave the example of hardcore hip hop, because I can naturally that is what comes fluidly to me. But I do want to. I am
more of an artistic.
Yeah, I'm there, and I'm not trying to be super artsy. Like that is just what I'm more interested in. I'm not really interested in on the corner raps with niggas and trying to prove niggas with backpacks that I got the best bars. Like I'm trying to make the best songs. I'm not trying to prove to you niggas I got the best bars. But we can do that as well. It's time and place for everything. But I feel like this era. I released the record at the beginning of last year, the day after 420. Big stoner vibes. Called "Make 'Em Dance," and that was more of a like an introduction to this era. And I feel like the bonus record off of Not For Sale, West Side Drill, is more of a vibey. That's the me and the homie Tomo produced. Very rare. Tomo on the drill beat, very rare. Producing the drill beat as well, very rare. Like that's yo,
I would never picture that.
That's like fucking Solar Eclipse rare type shit. You feel me?
Shout out Tomo too, bro.
And Haawws is able to secure that. So you feel me? Thank you. Yes, shout out Tomo for that. You feel me? Tomo, it's you. But I think we're moving into more of that, more vibes. I feel like the world is in a place where we need healing. Music heals. And so that's what I want to do. I want to put out more vibes, but there's always message in the vibes. Wow. There's always a message in the vibes.
That's what I loved about the project that you had too currently. Is like
Thank you.
It had the sprinkling. Like I said, keeping the core hip hop, but then you just twist it and you make it into the new shit.
Yeah.
And like it's an art. It's not an easy thing to do.
And that's why sometimes it takes 2 years, but when you can do it, like I feel like that's what to lean more into, because people appreciate that more. And don't just do it for appreciation. If that's what you are and it just takes you that long, fuck it. It just takes you that long. Just do it. Like if you really love this shit, do it, because you will see the fruits of your labor on the other end. The fruit's not always going to be the best fruit. Sometimes that shit's a little ripe. But it's still fruit nonetheless. You feel me?
Yo, I love this episode, bro. This no disrespect to anyone else. I think this might already be my favorite episode of the year so far. Okay. I feel bad because I've only done like 5 episodes, so nobody take that the wrong way. But I don't know. Vibes are right today. I'm not sleep deprived as fuck, sitting here like not ready to fall asleep, because I'm never ready to fall asleep on a podcast. But my brain be fucked up sleeping 2 hours a night sometimes. So
type shit getting it in.
But this good ass conversation. I almost forgot that there's even fucking another question I got. I almost forgot the one you brought up before.
I'm here.
Last thing, for anybody that's watching this, typical fucking infomercial bullshit, me rinse and repeating, saying it the same way I always say it, and I'm sorry that it gets annoying as fuck. But any artist right now, if they're watching this, or if you were sitting down with them face to face, they're just getting started out in music. Instead of me asking you what they should do and what they should not do, I just want you to just say what that conversation would be. Anybody that's watching this starting out, just whatever tips you want, at whatever you think they shouldn't do, just talk as much as you want about that.
Okay. I feel like I would use this as an example. If this is you as an artist and say this is your goal, I would say in between this is the dash. So, right, you have idea, you have operation, right? That in between dash, there is going to be a lot that's not going to work. And my best advice is to fail fast, because then you learn about what you need to refine quicker. The longer it takes you to fail, if you feel like you're coasting and things are just going up, there will be inevitably when things go wrong. And if you haven't failed before, you won't know how to pivot. And in art, and in business, in which music is where the two interconnect, you have to know how to pivot. And especially if you want to be doing this for a long time. And I feel like fairly everyone does have that. And I don't totally agree with my colleague when he says innately everyone's creative. I think some people are just like figuring themselves out. But I'm not to cite anybody. Who am I to judge? I would still encourage you to fail as fast as possible and let go of any ego that you may have at all. Like, and honestly, it will help you in other spaces. Because me letting that go in my arts, like being an artist, has helped me in spaces just as a person and how I'm being in everyday community when I'm thinking of others. Like, I used to be someone who was I struggled with being considerate of others, but very small things, like nothing too crazy, but just like time and different things of that nature. And I got better with that through my artistry. I don't know, I can't really document how it happened, but it was a lot of letting go of certain egos and certain things that I was holding on to that helped me develop into a better person. So, and I feel like you have the possibility to do that as an artist, and you can do it really fast. Most of the other people can, do with character development if they're just doing like regular shit. Not to say that people are not doing shit that's interesting, but like if you're just living a regular, life, you just do the same shit. Sometimes it's harder to build on your character when you don't have these vast experiences to pull from. Fail fast. This in between dash is just time. Fail fast, fail hard, fail fast, fail hard, and try again. Dust yourself off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again. Try again. If first you don't succeed.
Yo, dude.
Dust yourself off and try again.
This gotta be one of my favorite bits of advice, and this is a perfect closer.
Okay,
and
word.
Also, I'm gonna say for anybody watching this, you've heard this term come up a lot. Artist seasoning, bro. Artist seasoning. If you don't take L's, if you don't go through the ringer, the way you phrase that perfectly, bro, what the fuck you gonna do if you have 1 million followers and 1 million people listening to you, and that's when you face your first problem?
Exactly.
Like, you hit the nail on the head with that.
Exactly.
You hit the nail. I cannot wait to post that reel. I cannot wait to post. I literally said it there. I'm like, yo, once you got through like 3 sentences, I'm like, okay, this, I like the way that this shit's going, bro. Nah, straight up, because you phrased that perfectly. You phrased that perfectly.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for this as well.
Bro, thank you. And I got to say, I know I said it earlier in the episode, very well spoken, bro. That's why I asked you, I'm like, you got other podcasts? I'm like, this motherfucker got media training or something? No filler words?
Yo,
just
that's hilarious.
Straight to the point.
Media training.
Intricate vocab, not just like,
type shit.
like. I'm sorry, yo. I got to chill, bro.
Yeah.
I got to chill before past guys get mad at me.
Nah, I feel you, though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bro, great fucking episode. Great episode.
Thank you.
And like I said, you could expect a more loyal supporter, because it's one thing for me to fuck with the music, but once I fuck with somebody on a personal level, you got a fan.
Definitely.
So
Yes,
you converted me from just Haawws fucking admirer of the rollout and admirer of the project, listening to it a couple times, so you got a fan out of me.
Okay, word.
I'm definitely be
appreciate
tapping
that,
into
bro.
anything future, bro.
And it's mutual. I've been a fan of DOD. I've watched a ton of interviews. I subscribe
Appreciate it,
on YouTube, and I like.
Appreciate it,
feel
bro.
me? Subscribe, like,
appreciate
and
it,
I
bro.
comment when I can. You feel me? Type shit when I'm remembering too, because a lot of times I'll be smoking high,
bro, I feel
and I'll be
you.
just like, I watched the not too long ago. I watched the Geo interview, so I was fucking with that one.
I appreciate
love
it,
that y'all doing y'all thing up here. This shit is fire. I love the concept. You feel me?
I appreciate
I'm a
it,
very vibrant person. DOD gives vibrant vibes.
I appreciate it,
So
dog.
yo.
I appreciate it, bro. You got anything else you want to add on?
Nah, it's your boy Haawws. Came up to DOD. Thank you again for having me here. The only thing I will say is, like, again, if this is something you're trying to do, believe in yourself, fail hard, fail fast, and just don't give up. It's very much possible. You just have to have a certain amount of belief that's just like hard to articulate sometimes, like to where people looking at you like, yeah, he's bugged. I got to go have another conversation with somebody else, but just keep going. It's not as hard as they make it seem, especially if you believe in yourself. So,
Bro, I appreciate you coming on the show once again, bro.
Of course, bro.
I appreciate you, dog. Bro, y'all motherfuckers know the drill. Go follow Haawws on Instagram, and if you're not, let me not say derogatory term. If you're not blank, please go and listen to Not For Sale, because it's a great body of work. Also, like I said, follow him on Instagram. You'll see all the dope rollout content that's been there. And get ready for this new Haawws era. And go check out the past project, too.
Yes.
Not safe for work. Go check out that, too. Y'all motherfuckers got Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever the fuck it is. Go through the little Instagram link in bio. Click the DSPs. Go check the shit out. It ain't that hard. And also talking about things that ain't that hard, click that subscribe and like button if you have not already. I'm tired of this corny YouTube outro shit. So I'm about to call it. But episode 97, this one's been a blessed one. We'll see y'all motherfuckers next week.
How you forced it?
Yeah. Yeah. Right on.